Yo, how's it going, guys? In this video, I'll just go over exactly what we did to add 20K to our client's MRR in 30 days. I'll show you guys the exact steps we took, the exact protocol we took, and the exact systems you can take, implement in your own business to scale and get similar results for yourself. So I'll go over exactly the step by step what we did. So if you're stuck somewhere from 10 to 20K a month and you're looking to scale, but you're stuck at that range, this video is for you. Just to make stuff clear, this is not a tactic. It's not a tactic where people tell you that it's going to be ideal for your situation, because the truth is that everything in marketing works as long as you have the right foundation, and I'll get into that right in this video. The second thing is we don't sugarcoat it and tell you there's no complexity involved. Instead, we look at the system from the back end, right? We look at every principle, everything it takes to scale, because it's a protocol and it will make scale inevitable, right? So we take in account there's a complexity, because once you scale, there is going to be complexity. And if you're stuck at that 10 to 20K month mark, then you know that there is complexity stopping you from scaling, and there's certain actions that you have to change, because what got you to 20K month won't be the same thing that will get you to 7 figures, and I'll get into this in this video. And the third thing, coaches seem to forget that after you scale, there will be complexity inside your business. You will need to hire team members. You'll need a backend to collect data. And all of this, which you probably know because you're already at a point where the complexity is rising. And this video is the solution, and I'll go in right into it. Yeah, so Antonio, so the clients, we added 20K MRR2. As you can see, we're closing deals for a 6.5K offer. We will also go into DM closing because we added 2 closers, and as you know, it get complex, and he was actually more comfortable with DM closing, so that's what we went to, right? As you can see, we were actually at a point where we had more onboarding calls than sales calls, which is perfect, and it's the perfect situation that you want to be into, right? Because that's your main goal. You want to onboard and help more people, not necessarily spend time on client acquisition. Managed to get a 170K pipeline built while we were at it. And another one of our clients, Colton, what happened with Colton is we actually started booking sales calls for as little as $7 after launching. And that was just after implementing the first part. We didn't even go into the complex stuff yet because we weren't at that point yet, but I'll get into that right later. And another guy, Jeff, as you can see, he got 2 closes, 2 sales in this week, right? So in 1 week, basically. Right, so these are all the results that we've been getting with this protocol, and I'll explain it exactly how you can do the same for your business too. So stay tuned, and yeah, I'm just going to get right into it. Okay, so there are 3 main parts of scaling with the PhD protocol. That's the abbreviation of the phases itself. So as you can see, the first one is figuring out your unique points of leverage, plugging in an acquisition system, and adding structure and leveraging data, which will guarantee you predictability, scalability, and giving you some tangible asset in your business that will actually last you forever, basically. So yeah, I'll go over each pillar step by step so you know exactly what actions you need to take and what actions we took to get our client 20K MMR, right? So the first pillar, points of leverage, and probably the easiest way for me to start is what are the points of leverage, right? So if you look at your business, you have your expertise, your story, case studies, relevant content assets, and audience. And all of these stuff we can leverage and create a niche in which you are the expert, right? And then based off the niche that you want, you create an offer, a product, and then you have an acquisition model based off that, right? What people mostly do is they run an acquisition model to basically a blank page. I'm saying blank, but it usually is a copy and paste system, a copy and paste product, something that isn't what the market needs. And basically with the points of leverage, we look at the back of your market. So from the beginning, your expertise, your story, your case studies, relevant content assets, audience, and leverage those points, right, to get a better niche, right, to make you the only one in your market, make competition irrelevant, and actually influence a good offer that they need, and then run an acquisition model based off everything we have at the back end. And then I have also a different graph here just to illustrate, because this is very logical. This makes sense. This is data science. This is systems thinking, and basically everything is pretty logical. Because as you can see, if we flipped this upside down, let me just do that right now. Boom. You may not read anything from it right now, but as you can see, we got the points of leverage, which are the basic stuff in your business, right? So we had your expertise, right? Your case studies, your client story, your story, right? And if you look at this iceberg, assuming that this is your ad, right? Ad, and this is everything that happens behind the ad, right? The reason certain ads work well is not because of the ad itself, right? But what happens behind the ad. So why don't we just leverage what happens behind the ad? And that's basically everything with the points of leverage, right? We look from the most basic stuff. So the models, So basically, your way of thinking, your story, your client results, everything that you have, which you own and which you developed over the years, that's the bottom of your basically offer. Everything what happens next is based off the bottom. Then you have your niche, right, which you obviously choose. Then you have your offer, and then your acquisition model itself. What people do is they usually skip this part, right? And as you can see, they do the opposite, right? They just run the ad. They don't look at the back end. They just run the ad. And that just gives them a whole bunch of trials and errors because they're trying different stuff. And then maybe after 1 year of doing ads, they'll realize that they're doing something wrong in the back end. And then they'll just go down the back end of the system as they go or just fail. Right? Whereas at this, we look at the back of your system and we influence the events, not let the events influence us. Right? Because most people in online marketing are selling you a tactic. Truth is, a lot of stuff in marketing work when you have the right foundation. This is not any random tactic. It's a protocol that will make scaling inevitable. That's why we're covering everything step by step, right? Because like I said, the thing that makes an ad profitable from a 3 times return to an 8 to 10 times results is actually what happens behind the ad. That's why we're influencing that and making the ad work 10 times better by focusing on what happens behind, because client converting is way better than client acquisition, right? That's the truth. It's better even to have a client who knows who you are and knows what you do rather than a cold client who just has money to spend, right? Obviously, the ones who know you and want to get results will get better results, and that will go back to compounding effect, which I'll mention in a minute, right? Many people just skip this part and they don't build any trust, right? They don't focus on the back end. They don't build any trust. That's why their ads fails. They just look like another coach, right? Another copy and paste system out there on the market, and that's not what we want, right? So how do we actually leverage the core of your business? First, we dial in your unique approach. That's why we eliminate all the competition. Then we structure selling assets, and then we implement indoctrinating, nurturing mechanisms to actually convert more people, right? So, people get used to certain patterns, and the only way we can make your business stand out is by leveraging everything what happens behind the ad itself. That's why we look at your system from the back end, influencing the events, influencing the ad, making everything perfect, right? We're in the trenches. We look at every action, we fix every problem, and we actually optimize from the back end rather than letting events influence our system, our business, and then basically fail or be at a point where we don't want to be. Because technically, there can only be 2 hidden leaders in your niche, right? These are the ones that get actually the most profit from the market. And what we're doing is actually escaping that niche, right? Because if you look at Coca-Cola, they own 45% of the market, and then Pepsi owns 40%, right? And then fun fact, Coca-Cola actually targets older people, and then Pepsi younger people. So if Coca-Cola is targeting older, Pepsi is targeting younger, then what other competition can we create, right? That's why there can only be 2 competitors. The first one who created one and the second one who does the opposite, right? And I'm not going to tell you how to be the third one because that wouldn't make sense. We'll tell you why. It wouldn't make sense because everyone wants to be the third one, right? When you got 45%, 40%, and 5% of the market is everyone who wants to be the third one. That's basically the niche where you are in. If you are stuck, if you can't actually get results, then chances are that you're in the wrong positioning. Because in most cases, you don't have an acquisition problem, you have a position problem. And that's why we actually look and create you a blue ocean, right? It's as simple as that. Make competition irrelevant. And it's actually not that hard, right? So the first thing we do is that we figure your points of leverage, creating you the blue ocean, making competition relevant. So actually eliminating all the competition. Then we determine an acquisition funnel based off that foundation. For Colton, DM ads worked best for him, right? Whereas for Antonio, photo ads were killer, right? So basically there's these 2 that we mainly bounce off of, but we test different stuff and find the best acquisition model for you. Because as you can see, like Grant Cardone is killing with VSL ads, right? Because he's at that point where he can be. That's why the foundation is way more important than the ads you run, and I'll actually get into that right now. Right, so we're actually positioning you completely different, right? Creating you a new niche, eliminating all the competition, and this honestly helped our client Antonio because he wanted to do business coaching, right? He wanted to be a coach coaching coaches, right? Which is nothing wrong with that. But we actually went to a different niche, right? We looked at his points of leverage, his story. He had a bunch of clients on credit repair. He did credit repair in the past. So we just used that and created him a new niche, which he is the #1 go-to leader at the moment, right? Because what most agencies, coaches are telling you is to row faster, do more, post more, spam more, message more, right? But the reality is that you're in the right boat, but you're not in the right ocean, right? You could be rowing twice as less and getting more results if you actually looked at what's happening behind your business rather than what's on top, right? So what we did for Antonio is he was selling copy and paste offer, making copy and paste content to sell a copy and paste niche. He actually scaled a B2C credit company in the past. So we built an offer no one else could copy, making genuine content, building a connection and selling to a market he resonates with, which hasn't heard about that offer again. And he can honestly row as much as he wants in that empty, peaceful ocean. And that's one of the things that actually got him to 20K MRR in 28 days. Whereas with Carlton, he had no messaging, no plans in terms of acquisition. He had a case study in one niche, had a story that would resonate with a specific market, right? So what we did is we started selling to a market he resonates with and has case studies in, dialed in his offer positioning and content to resonate with that market. And then we choose the right acquisition system based on that foundation, which was DM ads for him. And that's basically how our ads crushed. Actually made a video going over the specific ad we used. Well, obviously it was the one that worked best for him. So what we look at to make this as much optimal as possible is the 20% of the clients who are getting 80% of results. What are your competitors doing? Why are they offering that? What are the beliefs of your ideal clients and how do your competitors use them in their content, in their creation? Because they're getting results for some reason, right? There's some reason they are better than you. And that's what we look at. And how can we position you different to everyone in the market, even if the best competitors, to get you out of the race for that 5% and actually aim for that 100%? Making competition relevant. Right, and this comes down to the iceberg. Like I said, we're looking what happens behind the ad, and that's what people just don't tell you. It's easier to sell someone on a special shiny tactic, the new way to get unlimited leads in 24 hours, etc. It's easier to sell someone on a new shiny tactic rather than looking what actually works, right? And what are the exact steps you can take, the exact protocol you can take to actually scale and, get someone to do it and get actually integrator to integrate all this in your business. B, structure selling assets, because your brand is our foundation that we are selling. As we can see with the funnel that we developed while working with Antonio, everything drives to your Instagram page, right? And then we have different stuff like YouTube, Shorts, VSLs, right? And then obviously the top of the funnel ads that we choose. Everything is driving to your Instagram page, right? So what we want to do is create content that the leads that come in actually have something to look at, right? We're not driving traffic to a blank page, right? That can work and that can get you some results, but it's not scalable and it won't actually compound on itself over time, which is what we want actually to do, right? Because the thing that happens behind the ad will have a huge impact on the results of the ad itself, right? That's why we're creating a brand that compounds on itself over time. And we're driving traffic to that and we're leveraging you, your personality, your points of leverage. And then we choose acquisition based off that foundation, which is more ideal and suitable for you, right? Because we're leveraging as much valuable assets as possible with content. And I'll show you guys the two types of content that we use. Because the only thing that does is bring super high qualified leads on your eyeballs on your offer. And it's up to you whether you convert them. With normal ads, you have no room for converting. Whereas with this, you have plenty of assets, indoctrinating assets, sequences you can leverage in order to scale, right? Because what we're doing is we're leveraging trust. Trust is the biggest factor that we focus on because that's like the biggest factor that actually sells, right? Because if you look at Alex Hormozi, if he made a product targeting lower price people, honestly, I'd probably go to him, right? You probably would too. There's really two types of content that we can leverage: short form content and long form content. Yeah, I know that's not mind blowing, but that's basically what we leverage. And if you look at the gurus, all of them leverage content. That's why you trust them and you know about them. And that's what we want to get you to, right? Because the ads own perfect leads attention. Short form content nurtures and gets them to bite into your content. That's why we leverage content on your Instagram page. And then we have long form content everywhere, right? Preferably that one VSL, but we actually do recommend to post more content because it's the way to scale. The long form actually converts and builds trust like crazy. That's why VSLs work so well. So as you can see, we can have this is like a basic nurturing system we have in place from our funnel itself. So ads driving into your Instagram page where you have shorts, a VSL, then you have a YouTube channel. And basically if they follow you on Instagram and they see your content on YouTube, they'll go into this loop of watching YouTube, watching shorts, watching your stories and getting nurtured over time. And then with a setter who is sending relevant videos at the same time. right? Because the short form is the thing that they will see once they get into your page. So we want to have it as dialed in as possible, as converting as possible, and as trust building as possible. Whereas for the long form content, one video is going to make people trust you way more than 100 pieces of short form content would, right? That's why we leverage that one VSL, which is crucial. And then content, preferably, you can literally make content around the pillars from the VSL and be good to go. If a prospect gets on a call with you and asks, what do you actually do? You know you're doing something wrong, right? I know this from experience when a guy comes on a call and he watched your content, he watched your videos, right? It's way easier to sell to them. You don't have to explain what you're selling because they already know what you're selling. They just want you to help, right? And if you build the trust factor enough, right, and you're actually in the blue ocean where competition is irrelevant, there's actually no reason for people not to buy and actually get money to give to you, right? The YouTube is the biggest lever here, as you can see. Then C, the final one, and my favorite one when it comes to points of leverage is indoctrinating nurturing mechanisms. I find this very interesting. You may not, but it works. It works. That's why this is a protocol, and this is one of the points that we leverage. Because all good content frameworks theme from one thing: human psychology. And Charlie Munger did a great job giving us a list. He was a billionaire. So we just leveraged that. I'd rather listen to him than an internet guru. So there are three main points we cover in the content: short form, long form, both. They both work in both types of content. First, your unique points of leverage. Obviously, you have to talk about yourself. For the second step, we basically look at the Charlie Munger's cognitive biases. So for the reciprocation bias, we just give value. Social influence bias, we show proof. Like loving tendency, we share personal stories, selling you, your personality. Confirmation bias, we just break beliefs. Stimulate the neocortex, we just say stuff differently to the whole market. It's as simple as that. And if you stimulate all of those, and that's what we try for, you'll actually have a Lollapalooza effect where all of this works like on steroids. Right, and that combined with our break and rebuild framework just works like crazy. You're identifying, acknowledging, breaking and rebuilding social proof, and their beliefs align with yours, and they are pre-sold. And that's what we try for. So we have three steps. So it's basically you, psychology, and the framework that actually implement in your content. Pillar 2, acquisition system. So like I mentioned before, a lot of things in marketing work if you have pillar 1 set up right. If you have your points of leverage set up right, and you have your foundation created in a good way, right? You have your content, you already know what you're talking about, you have an offer, you have your niche where competition is irrelevant or eliminating competition. Then based off that foundation, we decide what ads to run, because everything in marketing can work as long as you have the foundation. In most cases, you have a positioning problem, not an acquisition problem, right? Like I said, Antonio was killing with follower ads for his B2B high ticket offer, whereas with Colton is killing it with DM ads for his B2C offer. And so a lot of different stuff work as long as you have the foundation built. So as you can see for the funnel that we built out while we were working with Antonio, we got the top of the funnel ads. We prefer inbound because they have the most leverage and they can actually compound you way faster. But obviously we see what works best for your foundation, so it suits you in your situation. And then everything drives to your Instagram page where we have the most leverage to convert content and actually show the foundation that we built, right? Because if you look at a windmill, right? I'm not a windmill guy myself. I'm not sure how a windmill works exactly, but I do know for a fact that it spins. And basically when you're not running ads, you're relying on the wind itself. And what we do is we basically just install an engine, right? I'm not a windmill guy myself, but I know for a fact that if you had an engine here, the windmill would be spinning constantly and it could actually spin way faster than looking at the wind itself and produce more product and more sales essentially, right? So that's a little windmill metaphor. Let me just find where I was at, right? Because the goal shouldn't be to become a better marketer, right? You don't want to be a better marketer. You don't want to sacrifice your time on marketing, because what you actually truly have in mind is being a better coach, being better at what you're currently doing and get more client results. And that's basically what my clients face, right? They want to be a coach. They actually want to be coached themselves and they don't want to be a marketer. That's why we are the integrators for our clients and why everything works, because we actually want to get results, right? Because when you're starting out, you probably start out with outbound, outreach, get some client results, then you probably got some client results, and then the next step is to move to inbound. If you're stuck at 10 to 20K a month, right? If you got there already and you didn't leverage inbound, then there's a whole lot of more stuff on the table to be taken. That's like the main framework. You start off with outbound. That's what I did actually. Start off with outbound, get some client results, and then you move to inbound. And then that just requires less of your time and attention, and it's more scalable because you actually have a lever on the amount of attention you put on your offer rather than relying on the wind, like I said with the windmill, right? Because as you can see at the start, what ends up happening when you're doing cold outreach is you have last month's rev, then you have next month's revs, and then there's a discrepancy between next month's rev and last month's rev. So what you have to do is do more cold outbound, right? And that doesn't result to anything, whereas you're in the next month and you still have to make next month's rev. And that just keeps on happening constantly, and that's like a balancing loop. You're balancing at the stage where you at, right? Whereas we do is what we get client results, leverage them, attract more people, get clients, get client results, and just keeps on spinning over time, especially with the fraction invested in acquisition. It just helps us a lot better, and we could actually be at a point where when you can turn off ads and actually keep on getting results. In fact, I actually turned off ads a week ago, and I had a bunch of qualified inbound leads from nowhere basically because they weren't there when the ads were running, right? And the reason for that is because my compounding and my brand was at such a point that the client acquisition was spinning, right? Because we are the integrators, we take on everything. All you focus on is becoming the better coach. We are not coaching you on how to be a marketer. We allow you to become a better coach, help more people, which should be your goal in the first place, right? You didn't go into this saying, oh yeah, I have to learn agency stuff, I have to become an agency, right? But sell it for myself. We actually want you to become the best coach, and that's our main purpose with this, right? Because there's like two main reasons we run ads. Meta will narrow down to those ideal perfect fits, so we own the retention, especially if we get the points of leverage right, running a simple ad where whatever method we see that works best for you and stick to it, right? And this just allows us to compound them over time. They don't just buy or die because they're owning their attention, and you can convert them however you like. And the second reason is we want something that is scalable, predictable, and will actually make you money, get as much leads as you need with a click of a button, right? Because you control the amount of attention it's on your offer, because you're in the flywheel of spinning of client results, getting client results, getting client results, getting attracting more people, getting clients, and you actually control the amount of attention you put on your offer on your page. Because there's no secret tactic, there's no secret ad that you can search half of the internet to find. It comes down to the basic principles, the stuff that people just skip doing because they see that there's nonsense. People want money. They don't take the actions that they will need to be taken in order for them to scale. That's why they don't scale. That's why we scale our clients, right? That's why with this protocol, we do the opposite and make scale inevitable because we look at the market backwards, right? Essentially, that's what we do, and develop your foundation first before we run any ads. And another thing we do is conversations with them, right? So that just lets us build way more trust than we would initially do. So if we're getting the leads in, we just have conversations with them. That's another thing we do. I made a full video on the appointment script. I'm not going to get into that right now, but it's going crazy, right? The appointment script, reaching out to the engagers who like you, is just crazy. When we were at 2 calls a day with our client Antonio, we actually got him to 10 calls a day because we actually engaged, right, and DM'd all the people that were coming in, and you can literally have setters that can do this for you, and this is super simple, and that's what we leverage. Most people, what they do is they'll just run an ad that doesn't fit in the puzzle, right? It doesn't fit in their foundation. They don't look at their foundation, and they don't run an ad based off that foundation. That's why they fail, and that's why you should have optimize your foundation. You should look at your foundation, go over the points of leverage that I mentioned before, and then choose an ideal acquisition system that will work best for you and will get you the best results. Okay, pillar 3, leveraging data and adding structure. And this is crucial, right? If you're a 10 to 20K month or even 30K month, if you want to get to 7 figures and beyond, this is crucial, right? Leveraging data, adding structure, eliminating complexity, right? And making stuff work on autopilot, automating stuff, that's crucial. And they're the actions that you need to step, right? Because obviously what got you to 30K month, 20K month won't be the same thing that will get you to 7 figures, won't be the same thing that will get you to multiple 7 figures and 8 figures, basically, right? Because what coaches seem to forget, and that there's complexity once you scale, right? And that complexity is inevitable. The reason we scale our clients, because we look and we acknowledge the complexity, right? It's a protocol. It's not a shiny new trending tactic, which a guru from the internet will tell you to use and guarantee you results, right? It's going to get complex. That's why you need an integrator in your trenches, right, to overcome all the problems. You can do this yourself, but your time is way more valuable, and you actually want to focus on coaching, right? And there's a reason why we leverage data, because if you look at Google, right, and Meta in fact made like 98% of the revenue, makes 98% of the revenue through advertising. Why? Because they own data and they essentially sell the data, right? And the key point here is sell to data. They can sell to whoever they want, whenever they want, because they own the data, right? And that's the key, that's the point where we want to get you. And that's the leverage, that's the step that you have to take in order to take your business forward, right? We actually want to give you something tangible into your business so it generates results even after you turn off ads. And it's crucial once you start to scale and want to get past that 20K month mark, right? Because we add structure through CRM we provide to help you collect data, which we build for you, which lets you own the data, which means you can get clients whenever you want, right? We actually create a flywheel from the CRM and the funnel. I'll get into that right now. Because there's a certain amount of clients you can take, your time becomes valuable, and the last thing you want to be worried about is client acquisition. At that point, you can either do it yourself, spend your valuable time on it, or you can automate, right? Automating is key. That's why we build whole system, and that's why we are in the trenches and we actually integrate everything for you so it works better and you don't have to worry about anything. Actually scale yourself as being a coach. So once you scale, everything gets complex and you actually have to add structure in order for not to break your funnel, in order for not to fail and actually grow even more and take that to advantage that you have complexity and actually use it to leverage that back into the funnel. I'm going to explain that in a sec. So there are two main pieces to this. I'll try to make this as simple as possible. First of all, making your system bulletproof. Make sure nobody slips through the cracks and your funnel doesn't break. And two, being able to measure our numbers and identify the bottlenecks, because what gets measured gets improved. That's why Google, Meta, Amazon, all of those corporations are where they at, right? And going back to this, we don't want complexity to ruin our business and affect us and actually force us to change. We want to change and build a system so that the complexity isn't a problem and we know what's going to happen. We know that the complexity will occur and we actually prevent it from happening and fix it from happening rather than getting influenced by the complexity and actually ruin our business, which is essentially what happens to the people who don't plan anything out and think that they'll scale without adding structure. Okay, after about a week or two after launching for our client Antonio, we noticed that people were slipping through the cracks, right? We were losing leads. We were not converting as much people as possible. Our funnel was actually breaking. So what we did to prevent this from happening and to actually scale Antonio and not take the L and actually continue leveraging from there is we looked what happened behind his business, right? We looked where we can optimize. We looked at what we can do in order to turn the situation from a losing situation into a winning situation and actually leverage his brand and actually scale, right? And that's exactly what we did. We looked what was happening behind the system, behind his business, and we took notes from that and actually put it back into our business and making stuff way better, because we needed a DM setter, we needed a CRM to put those leads in. We needed to be getting KPI reports. We needed indoctrination sequences. We needed follow-up sequences, and we needed a way to track closers' performance, right? And that's exactly what we did. We built out our entire CRM. We leveraged data, and as you can see, we made the funnel way wider at the converting part, just to convert way more people, right? We were collecting data. We had go high level automations. We had a setter in the automations. We had a setter everywhere, qualifying them even more, getting reports from setter, getting reports from closers, collecting data and actually nurturing them because we had automations in place. Everything was working perfect and we're getting killer results with him. This just made it super easy to get everything in one place and make sure the funnel was airtight. We weren't losing leads. We had automations everywhere and he actually gave him some tangible, which will work in his business for years from now, scaling him even further and making stuff work like crazy. And this took us from 2 calls to 10 calls a day and added 20K MRR without touching the ad spend alone, because we leveraged everything and made sure that we're not losing leads. The second thing we needed data, and that's crucial if you actually want to scale to the 7-figure marks, because there's a reason why Meta has a bunch of data, Amazon has a bunch of data, Google has a bunch of data. They own their attention and they can sell to people whenever they want, right? So that's what we did. We leveraged data, right? So because what gets measured gets improved. We needed to track the lead. We need feedback from closers, data from setters, data from CRM, and track ad performance. Everything was being tracked. We had docs for everything, making sure that everything was on point and everything was being optimized as we grow, right? And all of this is the kind of data that you want to track, because what gets measured gets improved and you can actually reinvest it. Otherwise, things will get messy. You'll have to limit the amount of clients you take on, transition back into a balancing feedback loop, and potentially cause the whole system to break instead of self-reinforcing loop that compounds on itself over time, and actually use the complexity to your advantage, right? Look at the back of your business, see that there is going to be complexity, right? And just seek it in the future, in the foreseeable future, and solve it, making you actually compound rather than sticking at a bottleneck where you don't want to be at because you actually want to scale. Because as you can see, if you looked at our funnel, what ended up happening is we were collecting data, we were seeing what could be optimized, and we were putting that data back into the funnel, right? So essentially what ended up happening is that we made another feedback loop. We're getting data implemented in the funnel, convert more people, data in the funnel, convert more people. And as we scale, we're getting more data. We can have more people, stuff to track and actually implement back into the funnel. We had more people to sell to whenever we want, right? We had data around what we can optimize, what we can put back into the funnel. And that's why it just came another reinforcing loop. Because if you look at your business in a logical way, actually looking at what works, there's a bunch of loops everywhere, reinforcing loops, balancing loops, and it's up to you how they work. As you can see, this is crucial for getting to the next level. If you're heading for 7 figures, having everything in one place is a must. Okay, so now you know how to eliminate competition, right? Focus on your foundation and you, eliminating competition, making competition irrelevant. You know why the acquisition system should be chosen based off your foundation, not the way around, because everything in marketing works if you have the solid foundation and the pillar one covered. And how to build a backend that can handle a lot of stress and gives you structure when you actually start to scale. And this is crucial when you actually want to scale and get past those 7 figures, because you actually have something tangible, you have data that you can sell to whenever you want, right? And the truth is that we don't sugarcoat it. We don't influence your emotions, telling you that there's no complexity involved. There is complexity, and that's why we prevent complexity from happening. We're straight up. You can scale as long as you follow a protocol and actually consider every model variable to make scaling inevitable. This is what we're using to get all of those results. For our clients, we are in the trenches, we are integrators, we get everything together and keep on optimizing, stay on track, and actually optimize as we go for our clients. Because let's be honest, if you're at 10 to 20K a month, you probably don't need more coaches coaching you on business. You probably need some integrators that will actually get into the trenches and do the work for you, following a protocol, not a shiny tactic, which is what most people do. Okay, so this was a long and fun video to make because nobody on YouTube literally tells you straight up that there is complexity and they don't sugarcoat it. So if you found any value from this, make sure to subscribe. And if you feel like this message resonates with you and you need someone like an integrator like us in your business, optimizing everything as we go and get you similar results that we're getting for our clients, go to my Instagram, message me the word protocol, and I'll get back to you and tell you what we can do to actually implement in your business. So yeah, this is Camille, and thanks for watching.